why wait? You know, I mean, if they drafted my replacement, so let him play if that's what you want.
Spoiler alert, that is what Nick is growing his hair to look like, and I kind of love it. Back here with Roger's former favorite target, Greg Jennings. Greg, you excited to watch this interview with your quarterback on Sunday?
I got a feeling this is going to be pretty spicy. He's in the point in his career where he's going to speak truth and speak his mind, and I think we're going to hear some stuff.
Yeah. Awesome. And we've been getting a lot of that from Aaron Rodgers lately, so definitely looking forward to that. All right, moving on to Tampa with the defending champs hosting the Cowboys opening night. Bucks and boys, Tom and Dak. For Brady, his 300th regular season start. For Dak, returning from 2 injuries, not 1. And these 2 quarterbacks did not disappoint. Brady finished with 4 touchdowns, while Dak threw for over 400 yards and 3 touchdowns himself. But this game came down to 1 final drive. Here we go. Check it out. Bucks down 1, under a minute to go. Brady finding his old buddy Rob Gronkowski 20 yards to get into Cowboys territory. Shortly after, Brady connects with Chris Godwin for 24 yards to get into field goal range. Questionable non-call. Ryan Suckup drilling the 36-yarder to seal the win. 31-29, close one. Oh, says Mike McCarthy. Oh, I wish I made all the right decisions. An incredible ending to an amazing opening night. Bucks pull out the very close win. Here is Brady after the game on doing the right thing at the right time.
The important part about the last drive of the game was, you know, we executed some really good plays at the right moment, and it was great to see. It's going to give us a lot of confidence.
There was no doubt we were going to go win the game. With him, it's just who was going to make plays, and guys up front did a hell of a job protecting, and guys went and got open.
There's plays that we left out there that could have resulted in touchdowns, and it's game 1. It's a long season, but we've got to make sure that we get better from this one and allow this to be to propel us.
Hey, Greg, did last night say more about Tom Brady and the Bucs or about Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, I'll say this. It said a lot about the Dak Prescott and Dallas Cowboys, but I think it said more about Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the reason why I say that is because when you win a Super Bowl, you obviously know that all other 31 teams are targeting you. Every single game that you play an opponent, you're circled on their sheet. And so with them coming out, yes, they showed some rust, they showed some inconsistent plays, but they found a way to win. And ultimately in week 1, you're going to see some unscouted looks, some things that you're not prepared for offensively as well as defensively, and they found a way to get it done. Tom Brady, at the age of 44, we heard him say this about he's going to play as long as he feels like he can win a Super Bowl. He can still win a Super Bowl playing the way he played last night. The first half, he was lights out, and those interceptions, they weren't on him. He had some throws that he wants back, but this team looks really good defensively. I'm not concerned. They will get better. They will get pieces back. I like the Bucs.
Greg, here's my thing, though. I expected greatness from the Bucs. You know, this is what I expected. I expected them to beat Dallas more easily than they did. So I was more impressed with Dak. I thought we learned more about Dak and the Cowboys than we did about the Buccaneers, because we learned that they just may be a contender. I thought, Greg, that they outplayed Tampa Bay. They obviously didn't win on the scoreboard, but I thought they outplayed them. If they get that 31-yard field goal made, if they make that extra point, they very well could win that game. They marched up and down the field. They only had 2 3-and-outs without one of their best offensive linemen. Dak only got sacked 1 time. They won the time of possession by almost 9 minutes. And defensively, one of the worst units we've ever seen defensively for 3/4 of last season. They looked good against one of the best offenses with weapons galore last night. And I got to shout out Trayvon Diggs. As I'm watching the game and just kind of scribbling notes in my pad, I noticed that Trayvon Diggs was lined up on Mike Evans 39 out of 47 plays. and Trayvon shut him down. He only gave up 1 reception for 10 yards. It's just a little something I scribbled, but that's what it was.
Yeah.
1 catch for 10 yards. So Trayvon Diggs balled out. If the defense can remain that strong, then watch out for these Cowboys.
It's a really solid note taking.
That's good. So you write in your diary also. I love that. We both do it, Broussard, me and you. Let's turn our attention to the big non-call last night. Chris Godwin's crucial 24-yard catch that set up the game-winning field goal. Some saying it was a flop. Some saying it was a push-off. Some saying nothing because they didn't see it. They just didn't watch the game at all. Don't listen to those people. Here's what Godwin had to say. Take a listen.
No. Never worry about offensive pass interference. Just try to go out there and make a play. I think it's just like a little hand fighting on both parts. But, you know, he had some good coverage. It was a great pass, and I just try to make a play for my team.
Never worries about OPI. Hey, Greg, you had over 570 receptions in your career. What did you make? Take Nick out of it for a second. What did you make of this play?
You know, when I was playing, this was legal. Like, it was illegal, but we got away with it. The offensive pass interference wasn't a big call. But in today's game, the way they call it, there's so much discrepancy, and this is why I don't like it. You have to throw this because he did disengage the defender at the end. And I'm a receiver. I don't like it. But because they're both in an arm wrestling battle, which we heard Chris Godwin say, but at the very end, he does disbar the defender with his arm. And once that arm extends, you typically have to see a yellow flag thrown. Look at the arm extend right there at the end. Once you see that, that is typically indicative of offensive pass interference.
So, Greg, let me defend the officials on this one for a moment, but then I want to show a different play. What you're basically saying is you want it called consistently. And what I would argue is this is called very consistently. That is offensive pass interference as long as Tom Brady isn't the one throwing the ball. And if Tom Brady is the one throwing the ball, it's not. Like, that's how it's called, and that's how it's usually been called historically. And so was this a no doubt about it egregious miss? No, this is a judgment call. I think it's 60-40 OPI in most circumstances, but it happens. But the play earlier that led to, instead of being first and goal, a field goal by Dallas is beyond me. And that's Levante David getting upset, ripping his helmet off, banging it on the ground, and then walking. And what is more baffling about this is the gaslighting by folks on Twitter saying, actually, that's not against the rules. What? And then they're sending me screenshots saying, no, look at the rule book. It says it's only a penalty if you take your helmet off. And this is what it says in the rule book. To taunt an opponent, okay, he's not doing that. To celebrate, oh, he's not doing that. Or in demonstration. Well, that's a demonstration. It's a demonstration of frustration. And if that's not against the rules, you know who'd love to know it? Keanu Neal, who plays for the Cowboys, who a few years ago popped his Achilles. And after he popped his Achilles, when he's laying on the ground, threw his helmet off in frustration. And the referees flagged him. It's an amazing clip. You can go watch on YouTube. The referees make him take a timeout for the injured player and flag him because he's on the ground with a popped Achilles and he threw his helmet off. My whole life watching football, that's a flag. And that is a massive spot in the game. It's going to be first and goal. Instead, it's a field goal. Now, amazingly, they end up making the field goal, and Zerline did rally at the end of the game. But those are two calls, in my opinion, Broussard, that typically go one way. And, it just happens. It just happens that they went the way of Brady's team. It just happens. But that's a flag, man. In fact, real quick, before you go, Broussard, Greg, just tell me, that's a flag, right? Your whole career playing, is that a flag?
That's a flag. That's a flag.
Okay.
Every single night you play football, that happens, it's a flag.
Okay.
All right, look, I'm shocked. I'm shocked that Greg Jennings has gone over to the dark side. Against the receivers, Greg. This was not offensive pass interference. All right? And here's the proof. Jordan Lewis said he didn't say it was. After the game, if anybody has reason to complain, when they're in films, they're going to point this out to Lewis. And what human being wouldn't say? But it was offensive pass interference. Coach, he pushed off. If I'm in the press conference after the game and I'm asked about it, I'm like, yeah, you saw it. Everybody saw it. You can say it in a way where you don't get fined or whatever, but you saw his hand extend. He pushed me down. I didn't flop. He didn't say it. He said, I can't call it like that. He said, the ref said no call, so it's a no call. So if Jordan Lewis isn't calling it an OPI, then I'm not going to sit here and do it. Lewis knows he had his hand on his back. He knows he had his other arm he was hooked underneath Godwin's arm. So Godwin was like, get my arm off me, dude. Let me get away. And he made a great catch. So enough, Nick, stop it. That was a great play. And Greg, come back, Greg. Come back from the dark side.
I don't need to come back from the dark side. Nick, Chris, I'm always with